I've been doing sit-ups. I've been doing chin-ups. I've been doing pull-ups. I threw up once, but I'm okay now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Monday edition of the YSN Power Hour. We got myself, DJ Oakley. We have Richie Giuliano, and the doctor, the good doctor, is here. Steve Leslie joining us here on this recap Monday. A little therapy Monday, boys, because I think we're all going to need it after watching some of that football yesterday. Let's get things started with a little on this day in sports history right now. All right, you want to know about a little bit of history? Well, on this day in sports history, 1993, NFL Cleveland Browns, Najee Mustafa sets a club record for the longest interception, 97 yards in Cleveland Browns history. And guys, watching games yesterday, Browns could have used Najee Mustafa a little bit towards the end of that ball game, eh?
Looked like the Bills a little bit going 99 to the house.
That's a low shot to start.
That was a low blow.
We could use – what year were you born?
99.
All right, so you didn't even remember Najee Mustafa. We could use him for sure. I don't know. You watch so much NFL, this analytics and things that, I mean, if the Chargers lose that game, that coach probably gets fired on the spot.
Yep. Stokes, right? Stokes.
You know,
Stokely.
Anything anymore in football, college and pros is analytics. Do we go for it? Do we go for two? Just think it takes a lot out of the game, and people are taking points off the board. And when you do that, most of the time you lose.
Browns did it yesterday at their own 30.
Sure.
Didn't get it.
Right.
Do you ever get tired? Like, as a Steeler fan right now, I know we're bad. Like, I know we're just terrible. Take TJ Watt out of that equation, even worse. But you guys, like, have a chance. You should be good.
You should be good.
If you listen to some pundits, you should be 5-0.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about 5-0 because probably should have lost the Carolina game.
Probably, yeah.
To me, the disappointing part is defense.
Yeah. Can't stop the run.
And I get everybody's answer is fire Joe Woods. Well, Joe Woods doesn't make tackles.
So you're saying it's execution, not explanation.
I think when you have all these good players, Clowney, Myles Garrett, we lost the linebacker. Secondary, we've guys aren't playing the way they're supposed to play. And the bothersome thing for me, and I've said it on social media, you have a Guardians team that goes 100 miles an hour every day. And you can't get 12 or 13,000 people, but come playoff time, the people that want to go,
we
can't. So that's the world we live in. I think it's, I love the Cleveland Browns. I'm 55. My thing every week is how can we lose this week? And it kind of happens. It's I tell Daniel that all the time. You're 24, dude. You have 30 more years to witness how you can lose games, from Rudd throwing his helmet, 99 yards, fumbles. Just cannot get over the hump. Is it Stefanski? I don't know. I mean, Joe Woods, I don't know. These guys are professional. Jacoby Brissett, it's first and goal.
Yeah.
A field goal gives you the lead. The guy's standing right in front of you.
I love how we're always blaming the coaches and never the players.
Well, that's today's world.
I
mean, it's
leadership.
Stefanski, fire Joe Woods. Like
you see it with the Steelers. Fire Mike Tomlin. There's a guy that's
never lost.
Okay, so he has
have a good team. Like,
is it? That's true
you can
in sports.
Plays and you can do whatever you can. You can watch a million hours of film. If you don't execute, you're not going to win.
Can we say that in our high school sports? A lot of good coaches in our area.
Absolutely.
Some teams are having bad years.
Yeah.
So he's a bad coach all of a sudden?
Richie, this popped up on Friday. I don't know if you're aware of this already.
Nice.
Richie Giuliano's father, Duluth.
I like that.
I do like that.
JOK.
Plus have two fathers.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm trying to figure out because it just popped up on Friday all of a sudden.
And I don't even know who that person is in that picture.
No clue.
Well, that's the way you like it.
Yeah.
The people you don't know.
JOK has been playing well, at least for the Browns.
I must not have watched those games. We maybe not have.
It's all right. I mean, he hasn't been the worst.
No.
There's been worse players that I've seen out there.
Yeah. And
Myles Garrett? Can we ask where he was yesterday?
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, where's Sparkly Jacket after the game?
Yeah.
For the press conference? Two
You know,
tackles.
running defense,
It's terrible.
passing defense is not good. Special teams. We draft a kicker. He made a big one in Carolina. He was going into the Hall of Fame. Now, I don't know. To me, kickers are kickers. I don't mean that disrespectfully. I don't think you take
At
a
the
fourth round pick.
professional level,
At the professional level.
Dime a dozen.
Yeah, you can bring in 3 guys every week and work them out. I just, to me, the analytics thing is hard. Like, I watched Philadelphia and Arizona last night. Philadelphia is on a 8-minute drive. Well, then they get to the 4-yard line. You got studs all over the place, and you pound it into the middle 3 times and kick a field goal. And then Kyler Murray slides before he's supposed
I
to,
saw that.
I saw that.
and you miss a field goal. So I like the old days. Play football. Forget the analytics of baseball and of football.
Fantasy football.
Yeah, fantasy football. It's I don't know. It's a different sport to watch.
I agree.
And then you got my Steelers.
Well,
Bad, dude.
Well,
take
Bad.
Watt out of there. That's a big, huge. Watt to me is like taking Chubb and Hunt off the Browns, and more so on their defense.
Sure.
I mean, you give up a 99-yarder. They did some things good. I think Pickett's going to be good. I really do.
I mean, I think the best series of that game was when Buffalo Pittsburgh drops the kickoff. Buffalo gets it at the 20,
And they stop.
and they don't get any points out of it.
Well, they blocked the field goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Block the
I
field.
think there's positives there. But again, can you be good every year at any level?
No.
It's
There's
hard.
cycles in pro football and pro sports.
I remember the years that Cower had that they were calling for his head.
Yes.
2000 maybe. Then 2001 he goes to the AFC Championship.
Yes. And people want
And
him
then
out.
people still wanted
The
him.
New York Mets win how many games and
Yeah.
then blow first place. Now you're out. You don't get a bye and you're eliminated. It's
Perfect segue. So you've got that going on Sunday, but on Saturday and Friday, obviously, you guys a little more jubilation in your lives. Richie, you guys watched the game together.
yeah, we were at
Yeah.
YSU together.
We were. It was fun. There was about 25 of us.
Yeah, there were a lot of people in that room, and on your phones, I get all the Indians
Oh.
updates, so it would be a little ahead of the feed at Stambaugh. So I would tell them there's 3 outs. All right, we're going to the next thing. Would you quit telling me that? And Anthony Romo's next to me. I quit telling us that. You shut that off. You don't listen to it. Again, I'm a big baseball fan. You are.
Mhm.
Pittsburgh, Cleveland. We get great young players.
Mhm.
And Pittsburgh's in a rut where go on Pittsburgh's roster and look at the guys that are playing in postseason baseball. Still, there's I want to say
There's
6 to
a lot.
8.
Glass now.
Yeah,
Last night.
6 to 8 of them at least are. That's exciting times, but you go on and you look at ticket prices. It was $200 and some to sit and watch a game.
Oh yeah.
We were going to go Friday night before we went to St. Joe's, and I didn't even mention it to him because for Richie, my daughter, Jen, and myself, it would be $800 to go watch a baseball game.
And it's $100 a park.
$100 in parking. That's absurd.
It's not right.
I'm supposed to go Sunday, and it's gonna be a lot.
Yeah.
Sean Phillips says, hey, at least Notre Dame Irish got their win against
Yeah.
BYU.
Notre Dame, again, there's a coach that lost to a good Ohio State team, the best team in the country right now. Yeah, they lost to Marshall, but you got to give coaches a chance to get situated. I love watching social media and all the answers for coaches, and they should do this and they should fire this. And I know we're proud of what we do. I love every coach we have at YSN. Been in their shoes.
Yep.
It's not fun shoes to be in.
Said not ones you like.
No,
Those aren't
because
loafers.
you're going home at night thinking about things, and you have a family, and There's no coach that I know wants to lose, or kids want to lose. It's to me, that's what makes high school sports. You never know what you're going to get.
Let's make that transition, Steve. I mean, big games over the weekend, Friday. What were some of the games that stood out to you?
Here's one that I had on. I was watching a lot of Southern and Valley Christian.
Yeah,
that was a dogfight. There was some cracking going on. Southern's a good football team. Valley Christian's a good football team. Those are the teams that I enjoy to watch because I don't get to see them a lot doing what I do. When I travel, I try to flip through everybody, but I was able to have the iPad with me, and that's one of the games we had on. That was a great football game. Low scoring.
Yep.
First downs were hard to come by. Punts. Special teams were good both ways. Coach Hake, can you say enough about what he's done there since he's got there?
He has them believing.
Yes.
And sometimes that's all you need.
yeah.
He said, let's get violent. You know, I mean, he gave me the whole speech that he said in the locker room, and basically it boiled down to nobody's giving you a shot.
Yeah.
Here's your shot. You guys want championship football. Everybody wants it. Here's your chance.
I mean, we talked about this when we did Southern and Wellsville. The only way you beat Southern is if you have good linebackers, guys that get to the outside and beat that long sweep that they run, and guys that could hit Wyatt Morris at the point of attack. That's what Valley Christian did. They've got good linebackers. They got speedy guys.
Right.
You know, that's how you beat them. You attack them.
So those are two really good football teams in our area that don't get
near
the hype of Austintown Fitch game was great. Ursuline,
awesome.
Ursuline
if
showed up.
you would have told us that game's 40-0, I would have said no, the way it started.
Oh my gosh.
But the biggest play in that game is Coach Reardon calling a timeout
It really
on
is,
fourth
yeah.
and a half an inch.
Yeah,
They went hurry up, tried to score, and he calls timeout. No play. They stopped the next one, and DC goes 99 yards 2 plays later.
Jeez.
That was a good game. Austintown Fitch, obviously, it seems like we said on the way home, Ty Bartell's on every big game, every close
Big game Bartell.
It's him, Romo, or Thompson have
Yeah.
every close game.
We had not one but two
No,
devices on
and
Austintown Fitch.
The other one that I watched that I've heard you say on this show a lot, don't sleep on Poland.
Nope.
They get better every week. They're
They
getting
do.
better on defense.
They are.
They
And
are.
Behringer's back. That's the guy.
That's someone I wouldn't want to see come tournament time.
Not at all.
My alma mater, Cardinal Mooney, I don't know if I want to see them
They look pretty dangerous.
as a 9 or 10 seed going,
Ooh.
because you know those teams aren't bothered by going on the road. So I think,
They live on the road.
yeah, I think it was a great week of high school football for us because we have, we were here earlier looking, I think 13 teams in contention to get home games, 2 home games.
Yeah.
For us at YSN, that's why you created this, and that's
dream
why we
come
do
true.
what we do. Yeah,
Look what Poland could do. They could get top 4
sure.
if they win their last 2 games and Woodridge falls out.
Which is possible because I think Woodridge has a tough one. The other one I looked at, their schedule's hard. Beaver Local,
Yeah.
they could win the last 2 and move into a top 4.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to go play at Beaver Local in their stadium. We've been there.
They play a Division II John Hay, who's
yeah,
really tough.
yeah.
And Wheeling Central Catholic, who got them.
But if they can get that John Hay game against a D2,
that bumps them significantly.
How about this West Branch game?
Oh yeah. How
And
about
that's-
that? Drew DeShields took over that game in the 4th quarter. I mean, he was down on the ground
Yeah.
on 4th down. He was
every
able to
time we
shove
had it
foot
on in the
out.
car, he was struggling to get back to the huddle. Cardinal Mooney, Mark Pellini, I was able to be around. I know the Pellini family well. It sickens me that those 2 people have to lose a life driving home, hit a deer. But what those kids went through, he was a coach there. Harding's record's down, but that's a great win for Mooney.
Huge.
They were down 17.
17-0 we looked.
Oh, I mean, listen, I was doing the audible call, and Gary was over there, and he told me it was over.
Yeah.
I told, watch out for Mooney.
Yeah. And the other thing I'll say as the GM here, I love what we're doing in the scoreboard, our YSN scoreboard. I absolutely love that. Is a tool for all of us to have when we're out doing games.
Yeah, it helped us a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, at halftime, it was 40-0 at half, and when we came back, we were able to rattle off every single
Every
game
score,
that was happening.
those things. So, shout out to Mike. I know he wasn't here. You took over, but what those guys do here Friday night and all our announcers,
It's like a work of art.
every game's a good game.
Yeah.
Every game's a game of the week for us. Every game is important to us. And it's going to show, I think, come playoff time. If you look at every division, we have somebody that can go in each division.
Ticker, the incorporation of the ticker says Siggy at games is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I like the
I
ticker.
like the ticker.
The ticker's good.
Still a work in progress. We're still
Well,
tweaking it.
We're going to make mistakes. We say that all the time. We're not perfect.
Fail forward, baby.
Fail forward. But I think this is one of our, since we've been doing this, I think this is one of our strongest years.
I 100% believe that. I mean, you look at, bringing in Richie full time was a huge cue for us.
Yes, and he's a great addition. Anthony, that I spend a lot of time with.
Romo.
I
Quinn
get to
has
spend
stepped
time
up.
with those guys every week. And
You, my friend, have stepped up in a big way.
But here's the thing. I believe in you, and I believe in the core group that we have, that for people, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to say a name wrong.
Yep.
We're going to
Sure.
fail.
I said
I do
Sciardi
it at
wrong for
YSU. So
9 weeks.
looking at some of those names from North Dakota,
Oh,
good Lord, Hannon has to talk way more than I do, because those were brutal. But YSN is it. And I think that finally people are starting to see that we take it seriously. It's not a 2-sentence article.
It's not a joke.
No, we all go out every week. You do the profiles. I love doing those, but people also have to understand that we all have lives too.
Yes.
We take time out of our own time to go do these things. I love doing it at Ursuline. I know you love doing it with Coach Pav, which I love. I wish I can go to every one, post office, but there's only so many of us that can get to so many places
Amen.
for these schools.
and we
Amen.
still got to call games.
Yeah, and you hear people, there's 7 days in a week. We would love to fill up every day of the week, but also we need Richie Giulianos, Anthony Romos,
People.
the younger generation.
How's it feel to not be the younger generation anymore?
Yeah, he's a graduate, but we need those guys.
Feels nice.
We picked up a couple from YSU that are helping out with Urson that are in those programs. For YSU students, this
We've
is
got
your
lunch.
best on-air
Opportunity.
possibility.
Yeah. Jim Bartell says he usually watches 3 games at a time, but after last week, he wants more monitors.
True. I had one on my phone. He had one on his phone. I had the iPad, and we had a scoreboard up. And you still want to get to 24 other games because there were good ones.
And then
And
Grace
you
had
see
a
score.
couple
Yeah, and
on.
Grace was giving us scores in the back. So I hope all the schools are proud of what we do. But to me, Southern and Valley Christian, no disrespect to anybody we have, they don't get the love
They don't.
that a lot of our schools get that are bigger than they are. But that football game there, that was a good old-fashioned high school football game.
That's what it used to be.
Sure.
That's what I remember it as.
Sure.
when I
It was
in high school.
run, punt, play defense.
TCL football right there.
Mhm.
Here's one for you, Steve-O. Howard Stern Folkley is 67th says, who's your most underrated team to make a run in the playoffs?
Ooh, that's a good question. Here's what I'm going to go. I'm going to go with my alma mater. Mooney in D5. And Richie, you covered Cheney. I say that because I watched that
Cheney's
Mooney-Cheney
legit.
game. Mooney will be able to play physical. They have a quarterback that can do a little bit of both. I honestly think when I look at that region, it's going to be Mooney and South Ring.
Woo! Woo!
That would be my most underrated one. Don't sleep on Cheney.
I think Cheney is legit. I think they're the real deal.
I don't think they get the love that Ursuline is very good. An Ursuline Cheney rematch or a Cheney Canfield rematch.
Oh, yeah.
That D3.
It's going to be a juggernaut.
So let me ask you a question. Cheney, for some reason, always flies under the radar. This year, Ursuline's not going to. They were in a state championship last year. Who do you think goes further? I'm not saying give me a team, but I'm saying just from perspective-wise, who do you think has the advantage to go further this year? Cheney or Ursuline?
Boy, you're putting me in a
I'm going
tough
to say
spot.
Ursuline. Because Cheney, with their seed, is going to have to play Chardon probably regional final.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. I think Ursuline's got a better chance to beat Canfield than they do to beat Chardon.
I guess who's the clearest path, Steve? I guess that's a better
So
question.
you're putting me in a tough spot. I'm with Seth and Coach Reardon.
I don't want to say who wins. I mean, they already played each other.
It just depends how they're seated, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because whoever gets that 2 or 3 spot is
the
in a
2
good
and
spot.
3 seeds are key.
They're in a good
And to
spot.
me, in that division, I'm with him.
I've seen Chardon. You saw Chardon
Chardon,
up
yeah,
close
when
and
I went
personal.
with you. But I don't think, and I'm not trying to disrespect Chardon.
No.
I think Chardon's number 4 out of those top 4 teams. I'm just
don't
going
disagree with
based
you.
on what they have coming back, looking at
Yeah.
their scores.
I mean, they're a good football team. Their only losses to Riverside, who's D2 and 7-1.
Right. But I'm going to catch heat, but I think Ursuline has the best team in D3.
No, I do too. I think Ursuline.
And
up
with the
front-
young man, I don't know what's going to happen at quarterback, but
well, if they
number
throw-
15 back there with 23,
that throws.
That's a lethal
completely different
combination.
offense.
that's
It's
an
fun to
offense
stop.
that Cheney didn't see those two in the backfield at the same time. I hope Jack Erickson gets healthy. He got hit, dinged up the last 2 weeks. He's a good option. I think for Ursuline, you're going to see both of those guys play quarterback. Jack maybe to throw it a little more, and then it's almost like a wildcat with
Dangerous.
Lynch and DC in the backfield.
DC running that RPO is dangerous because a lot of people look at him as, a smaller guy that could just run, but he could throw the football as well. I saw that last drive against St. V, 2 weeks ago when
Sure.
Romo and I were doing that second half. Dude completed every pass and he led the team down the
See,
field.
he didn't
and
throw
scored
it
a
real good when we saw it, and again, love Coach Pavlansky. Don't count out Brock Lowry
touchdown. No.
and Canfield
Ever
in
since that-
in a Valley Christian Southern type of game. I'll take a Brock Lowry for 4 yards at a time.
What I like with Canfield is they've been conditioned to playing deep football games.
Sure.
Mhm.
They played Cheney down to the wire. They played Dover in overtime and beat them after their defense sustained an 8-minute drive.
Sure.
Dover scored. Their defense came back out and stopped Dover in the overtime period. They played a lot of good football games this year. West Branch going down to the wire in week 1. So, I think all three of these teams have been tested. Their schedules are
play?
not easy.
Now, who could play good in bad weather?
Yeah.
That's what we're
There
coming
it
to.
is.
That's what we're coming
and it
to.
usually boils down to the running game.
Running.
Sure. You're going to be playing in November. Weather's going to get bad.
Yep. And
Can you not be that flashy 5 wide?
Well, we
Can you-
saw, and we know, Steve, better than anybody, we saw in that state championship what the running game can do for you.
it can dominate a clock. What they did in the fourth quarter, Clinton Massey, it could eliminate
They didn't throw
a good football
in the second
team.
half, correct?
You could run 4 minutes off a clock just getting the first down running the ball.
That's why I like Ursuline, and that's why I like Chardon. Chardon will pound it down your throat, almost like Kirtland does. And Ursuline's got Christian Lynch and DC Farrell that can
Right.
run the football.
And there was a post of Sean West Branch. Absolutely,
I was
They
just
could
going to say,
they
we,
could win a state championship.
we talk about South Range and Kirtland all the time. West Branch with no Ursuline standing in
Yeah.
their way. What could they have done?
How good could them and Gerard be in a possible
Wow.
trip to get to the state Final Four?
George's been there. Coach Pearson knows all about that state championship.
Again, that's why I go back to it's hard to name just there's every team in every
No.
Austintown Fitch in Division II. I'll put them up there against all those teams up there.
What I talked about with Romo a couple weeks ago, and West Branch, of course, if they get through that region, that'd be great. But
Glenville.
at some point, you're going to play Glenville.
Right. Who's a different
Glenville's
animal.
a
They're going to
different
be
animal.
physical. They're going to be athletic. But DeShields he's that
He's
difference
good.
guy. He is.
He's real good.
After a year of being able to see a Youngstown Ursuline in a big playoff atmosphere to play Canfield in an opener. West Branch will be prepared
Alliance.
to play. Yeah, Alliance, who
That's a good.
that's another
team.
D3 Region 9.
Yeah.
I
They're no
wouldn't want to
puppy.
play them. No.
No, they're dogs.
They're going to be an 8-win football team.
Mm-hmm.
Steubenville.
Oh yeah, Steubenville's really good this year.
Yeah, well, needless to say, they play 10 games and they get 8 at home, but they're another team that will just pound the football at you. That's why I think that's Southern and
That's why I like Southern. They could
Southern
run it,
will
man.
pound it at you, and Valley Christian can too. They can play a game in a phone booth and play it 7-6 or 8-6.
And what Southern does well is they utilize their offensive linemen. They've got their tackles who are big on the outsides, but their guards are really small but quick. So what they do is they run off tackle, and of course they're able to get outside.
Mhm.
But then when they run a lot of counters, they pull the guards, and their guards are quick.
Sure.
They're about 6 foot.
210, 205.
Not even that. They're
Yeah.
about $175, $180. So they're quick and athletic, and they pull their guards really well. And they just got more guys to hit
No
you than
doubt.
you could bring.
When I look up here on our wall, it's awesome to see everybody have. You go there every week. How good can Mineral? I wouldn't want to face them in a muddy atmosphere. Struthers, they might be playing as good as anybody. You
Yeah.
watched them against South Range.
I agree with you. They passed the eye test.
We had the big dog. It's another guy.
Alec
You have a
Grizzly.
good quarterback. You can do some damage.
So let me ask you this: out of the undefeated teams that are left, right? So we got South Range, Lowville, Edison,
Is Garfield still
Valley.
undefeated?
Valley.
Garfield has a
Garfield's
loss.
lost.
Garfield has
That's right.
lost. So we
That's
got
a big game this week, by the way. They
Huge.
played Brookfield.
huge.
Garfield and Brookfield.
Yeah.
That's another.
4 undefeated teams. Who's the first team to suffer a loss out of those teams?
Who'd you say? South Range?
I don't see South Range losing.
Lowville,
I don't see Louisville losing.
Edison, and Valley Christian.
Edison. I think Edison.
Who do they have left?
They don't have anybody great left, but I see them.
Oh, we're saying going into the play.
First team to lose.
I don't know. You know, Edison in that region, they played teams that are 2 divisions above them.
Yeah.
I mean, they play a lot of D7 teams this year.
I would say Edison out of that group. And no, they're having a fantastic year, but
yeah.
I forgot a lot about that Brookfield Garfield game. There's some points there.
That's gonna be. I mean,
It's be,
I don't know what the weather's gonna be like, but that's when you almost want to see it rain for.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's there's a lot of good games again this weekend.
Oh, I can't wait. Cannot wait. What team in D6? This is Richie. This is yours. What team? Excuse me. What team in D6 has the best chance to beat Kirtland? And what team in D7 has the best chance to beat JFK?
I think we saw it Friday Night Valley because Kirtland and Southern run the same style offense. They run that wing T, but they have a more throwing quarterback this year. So I've seen a couple things that followed up on Kirtland this year. They can throw the ball a little bit.
Yeah, they're a little
They throw
different.
a little bit differently. So they do have that aspect of their game. But you know, I think Valley matches up well with them. You know, it's a team that's fast and physical, could get to the edges, and you know that's what you're looking for. When you look at everybody else in that region, I just don't see anybody as fast and as physical as Valley Christian.
I'm
And
looking at
that's
it
the only
too.
way you beat Kirtland, really.
Yeah.
You got to be big up front and you got to be good in the
And
secondary.
let them not get to the edge and
Yeah.
do things that they like to do. I'm with you. United coaches had a great year at United. Again, those are those middle tier teams that those are no high school. Yeah, it's 16 teams, but when you look at some 8-9 matchups and you look at some of those 5-12s, those are toss ups.
Yeah.
I'm interested. I mean, Swiney says Steubenville at Mooney this week.
Yes,
Tell me that doesn't put Mooney on the map.
sure it does.
Win.
Sure. That's a game worth a ton of points. And Mooney's just lurking around down there in the lower half, and they're going to go play somewhere, and give somebody all kinds of trouble.
All right, let's take a break. We come back. We're going to talk power rankings. Welcome to the jungle, my friend.
Yeah, this is
We get critiqued pretty hard here.
Wow.
We'll be back right after
Better-
this.
Better be ready to take some heat.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
You're looking to your future, preparing for your goals, and they're closer than you think. Because here, success is part of the plan. It's a place where academic and social opportunities are meant to prepare you for life, not just the next 4 years. You'll be equipped to face new challenges and turn hard work into a career. You're ready for your success to take root. And here's where it starts. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
It means the world to me to know that what we're doing is impacting people. And whether it's simply I got to watch my son or daughter when I was out of town, or we just love watching YSN. We love what you do for our son or daughter. So whenever someone says thank you or someone is appreciative of what we're doing, it tells me everyone at YSN is doing what we initially set out to do, which is shine a light on these athletes and help them kind of promote themselves. My name's Anthony Hartwig, and my sports network is your sports network.
Hey, and welcome back to the YSN Power Hour on this Monday. And you know it's Monday. You know what that means, Rich?
Time for some power rankings.
Time for some power rankings. Stevie's first kind of jaunt into the power rankings, brought to you by our friends over at Joe Dickey Electric. Here we go. And there they are. Week 8. South Range takes the top again at 8-0. Stays on top at number 1. Austintown Fitch coming in 7-1 at number 2. Cheney 7-1 at number 3. Louisville perfect 8-0, but coming in at number 4. West Branch hops over Warren JFK at 7-1. Pardon me. Jumps from number 6. Canfield hops over JFK as well. 6-1 from number 7. And JFK slides down number 7. No game last week. That's the second team we've seen that happen to, falling out of favor in the minds of the voters. Valley Christian with that big win, 8-0. They hop up to the 8th spot. And you've got Brookfield in for the first time since the preseason polls?
Preseason poll against Ursuline, yeah.
And Edison, perfect, got hopped over by Brookfield.
Yeah.
So things got a little crazy, Richie. What's your take on the power rankings as they are right now?
I like it. I think they're pretty accurate for this week, to be honest. Out of all the weeks, I've had some questionable calls, and I called out some of the people last week that filled in the power rankings because West Branch jumped Canfield, and at the time Canfield beat West Branch, and they didn't have a great win yet, but I think they deserve that spot now after beating Alliance, which was a pretty quality win. And I kind of preached for it. I said, Brookfield, they're going to deserve a chance to get in because you're going to have a Brookfield team against the G-Men team. So I think, Garfield, they're also looking at this saying, hey, Brookfield's in at 7-1. We're the same right now. We're 7-1 as well. So whoever wins that game, I think is going to be able to find their way into the top 10. And, Edison, I think, is going to hang there for a little while. Edison's got a pretty favorable schedule the rest of the way. So I think they're going to stay put at 10 because once you put them in, it's hard to take them out, especially when you remain undefeated. But, out of all the weeks, I think this is one of the most accurate weeks that we've had in the power rankings. And Steve, you could either agree or disagree with me a little bit. We got a little back and forth.
Well, this is what I love to do. I'm going to disagree. And I'm glad I don't vote. I'm going to say that right now. But I think this is one of the best things we do to create. I'm just going to say, Ursuline beat Brookfield. Ursuline beat Cheney. And they lost to Fitch. So they've played 3 out of the top 10 and are 6-2. That's beef number 1. And I'm Ursuline. Grace goes to school.
I respect it.
I get it. But Ursuline, I'm Ursuline people that know football get it. This is based on records, and those teams should be there. Louisville should be up there. South Range is undefeated. And the other one, if I had to argue, I would probably argue Canfield should be above West Branch because Canfield beat him at West Branch. Those are my own, and those aren't even complaints. I love what you guys do with this. It gets a lot of interest. The bottom line, when you look at this, I think all those teams up there could make legitimate playoff runs.
Yeah.
And some teams that aren't on there, that this is what kids want to see. Do they agree with everything we post? No. But that's what's fun about what you guys do. I'm the first one in our group text to throw zingers and why this, but myself, I don't get to see a lot of these teams. So we rely on, this is a panel of 15, 20 people voting. So this isn't Steve's an Ursuline, does Ursuline. No, this is you take votes from 15 people, and that's a respectable top 10.
We had this week Louisville get a vote for number 2.
And I could respect that.
I can too. I thought to myself.
And let's leave it. This isn't to say that Louisville is better than Cheney, Austintown Fitch, or South Range.
Head to head.
We're talking teams in their division with their records. Yeah. They deserve to be there. They do.
I think we're going to see a big test this week with Louisville because they're going to play a 7-1 Mineral Ridge team on.
It's going to be a great game on the grass.
Yep.
Little wet, could be colder. Yes, but DJ, you guys with these power rankings, hats off to you guys for what we do. I guess you want people to disagree and complain and stick up for your school. You went to Fitch today. They want to know why they're not number one.
First question they had.
That's great, but that's what I love about the schools we represent.
2-hour conversation, and the first thing, who makes up your power
Sure.
rankings?
I get that a lot of times from places I go to. Are you in on those power rankings? No, but you guys I get to see it every week that people don't get to see, the time that everybody voting puts into it. And the gist that they'll say that this is why I think Valley Christian is here. I've seen them. I think that's why we're good at what we do.
And if those people that you're talking to think they're the only ones that have question marks, they're wrong.
No, yeah,
those see our
group chats are hilarious
They're
on
killing
Sunday
each
morning.
other.
It's like, who's going to come out of the closet? That's what makes YSN sports and what we do the best, because
How about this one? Oh my goodness. What that's not a shot. That is a great question. How many of the voters would take Louisville over JFK? Because they got them ranked higher than JFK.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
That's an interesting question.
There's a lot of hype right now around.
So we're saying here that Lowville it's not close, that Lowville's better than JFK.
If you're looking at the power rankings, that's basically what we're insinuating, right?
Can I be like Lee Corso and say not so fast? Again,
That's what
Lowville's
I'm
phenomenal. Bologna's phenomenal.
I don't think I would take them over JFK. If it was a pick 'em like we do, I'm probably taking JFK. That's my honest to God opinion.
I haven't seen both of them enough. I would say this: it's probably that game to get to the state semifinals if it works out that way. What's the weather like? Is it snowing?
Well, we saw JFK in the snow last year and it didn't go well.
Right. So,
Ms. Lucente saying, "Go Rockets! Great game on Friday. Can't
yes,
wait."
Absolutely. I think
Steve Laszlo says JFK by 28. I don't know if it's that.
I think it'd be a good football game.
I think it's a one possession game. I really do. And JFK's been there so long; it's a slight advantage to them.
Yeah.
With their kids they have back playing, they've played in the state championship.
Played a lot of
some
games.
Yes.
A lot of games. Do you guys think, now this is me again, everybody seems to think I've got to stick up my butt about Louisville, but I've been waiting for this game for 9 weeks.
Yeah, you want to see that test.
Mineral Ridge and Louisville, I think, is, in my estimation, if this game was pay-per-view, this is the game I would watch.
Wow.
And I've said this before, Louisville 8-0, great squad this year, experience with Vinny Balone, and they got some core receivers, but they played one team with a record over 500. So, I think this is the test this week.
I think it is. I think it's close. I think Springfield's playing really good right now.
They are.
And Louisville put up a pretty good outcome against them. But I'm with you. They're going to face a different style this week that they have not seen. Can they handle that ground and pound that Mineral Ridge will give you?
Ian Herb, one of the best backs that never gets talked
Quarterback's
about.
been
Junior's a stud. Tristan Valley's been amazing.
And a big offensive line.
Yes, sir. They can eat some burgers.
So when we go back to talking about that, Mineral Ridge's best defense could be their offense.
But we saw Miss Luceni chime in. Baby Anthony is not such a baby anymore.
No,
he's like little Gronk.
That's a grown man.
That's a Gronk-esque young man.
And
he's not used, I think, near enough. He is a Travis Kelce-ish player if we've ever seen one in this valley.
Yeah, he's a good football player. Tough. I think if I had to pick somebody in a game, I'd pick Louisville because of the pass game.
Sure. Richie Giuliano's father, Duluth, also picks Louisville. Ridge lost to Springfield, who Louisville beat. Louisville wins by 7-10.
Okay.
Siggy says, stages have been limited. What? Stages have been limited for the better.
They play.
Oh, okay.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why
it's tough to be.
And JFK's lost a couple games. Does that help them long run with bumps and bruises? I think so.
I mean, JFK's loss, when you look at it, comes to Mogador right now, is 7-0.
Who every year is in the final 8.
And they give every team from this area trouble.
Yes.
But look what JFK did. And, this, I think, is one of the biggest wins of the season. overall by any team that we cover here on YSN. Them beating Perkins, who was Division 4.
Sure.
And Perkins is 7-1 right now. That's their only loss.
And Perkins is steamrolling a lot of people.
And they're
That's not
smoking
close.
teams.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest wins that any YSN team has on the docket this year.
You talk pay-per-view. JFK Lowville would be a pay-per-view that I would pay big time to watch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that'll be the highest grossing
Huge.
game of the night.
Both of those communities will be there for each other, for their players. The atmosphere there on a neutral site, which if I had to guess, Boardman High School comes to mind right away.
Oh, mama.
Yeah. I mean, that's just down the road, but I think those two teams are that good to meet in that situation.
I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. Who's got the best story this year, Steve, team-wise?
The best story.
Yeah, like the team that you just can't help but when you hear about their season this year, you
know
can't
what the
help but
best
smile.
story for me, and it's a shame that the quarterback got hurt, is Girard. I don't think a whole lot of people were expecting that. And for Girard and West Branch, Ursuline moves up, kind of take a breath of fresh air that we're the big boys on the block now, both of them. But I like what they do. Coach does a great job. He's been in what they do. Coach Cochran with their offense. It's a fun offense to watch. I think that they're one of those. And the other big one for me is Cheney.
Yeah.
I don't think Coach Antrim gets the credit, and all his coaches. That's not just coaching football. That's being with kids.
There's a lot more of that going on than we knew about.
We went to the primetime show we had there. He deals with kids, and they have a great support group, and Casey and those guys that make sure that these kids have food to eat, make sure that they have things to look forward and go to, Hackett's that we go to.
Make sure they have a chance
in life. Their story's huge. To play at Campfield, to play a Mooney, to play in Ursuline, they got a good thing going on there. And there's some good football players there too. I mean, you got some D1 guys that are getting offers from Cincinnati's and West Virginia's that are good football players. Those two, to me, are the two bright stories for YSN.
I agree. Richie, you want to take this one before you give us your best story of the year?
Edison will beat South Range in the playoffs and then win a state title for the Cats.
Howard Stern.
I just don't see that. I hate to burst your bubble there. Howard Stern, Folkley, the 67th play. I just don't see that.
That's a lot of generations. 67th.
You know, I think South Range.
That's a pretty heavy statement right there.
It's going to have two teams to beat, and that's Garaway from Sugar Creek and Perry.
I'd probably be hiding behind a fake YouTube account.
Well, Perry's one of the Perry's is that they haven't changed their offense in 40 years. It's going to be wishbone, wing tee.
Yep.
Can you stop us from getting 3 yards?
Amos says Mooney's the story of the year.
That's mine too. You know, the way Mooney was last year.
Sure.
Come back, you start 1-2, even though you lose to Cheney by 5 points. That's kind of when everybody's eyeballs lit up. Said Cheney by 5 points. I mean, they had a chance to win down the stretch there.
Yes,
this might be a pretty good football team. You know, the way they've come out and they've battled through a lot of adversity. Of course, losing one close to the program.
Couple. This is reality.
Yeah.
We talked about the black stripe on their helmets now. That's dedicated to her.
Yeah. And then Mark obviously played on state championship, the Pelini name, and his girlfriend that it was at St. Charles and coached a lot of the parochial kids. Mooney's another. And again,
I think that Holy War is going to be a better game than a lot of people.
There's no question. I'll tell you that right now. Daniel and I were talking about the other day. Daniel's senior year, he wasn't playing because of the situation he was in, but Urson was 2-7, then had a 6-point lead going into the fourth quarter. You can throw those records out the window. And Mooney will be ready to play that football game.
Do you remember a few years ago
when we did it with Reardon?
Yep.
And Matt Reardon caught the 3 touchdowns.
Yep. And
they were the underdog.
They came out with the new helmets.
There'll be something that will happen in that game that's normal. But Amos right. Cardinal Mooney. If I'm South Range, that's probably one team that I don't want to see till it's time to get all the way out.
Lakeview mentioned by Swanee, and then Poland mentioned. You guys talked about Poland a little bit. Can you discuss a little bit more about why Poland has a good feel-good story this year?
Poland they were done and buried. I mean, they were done and buried after losing to Campfield big. And they lost a couple other big games to Cheney.
Right.
But they pick up that one win that I think helped them a long way, and that's Louisville.
Yes.
Going to Louisville on the road.
Because people counted them out before they even went to Louisville.
Agreed.
And coming out in the third quarter and getting a 70-yard touchdown play was big from Fulton.
I want to
Fulton
ask
had
you this
71
because
yards.
you called the game.
Mhm.
When they played South Range and Poland, Behringer didn't play in that game, correct?
Did not.
And I'm not saying in that game that they win, but
Half their line
Behringer
didn't play.
puts a different aspect into that football team.
Yeah,
Even
I
when they
mean-
played Canfield, if he plays that game, I'm not saying they win, but their Coach Pav has them in the right direction come playoff time.
Mhm.
There's another big game coming up. I think it's this week or next. Poland Struthers.
Is that 10?
That is week 10. Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yep.
That's huge.
At Struthers. Yeah.
Huge.
That determines a
That's
lot
an
of
old
seeding.
school rivalry that they've had some, again, just because you have the better record does that. That's going to be a meaningful playoff football game.
What about Jefferson this week? Nobody knows the true identity of Jefferson this
Well,
year.
they're hit and miss. Like
They're hit and miss. One week they're amazing. The
the
next
quarter,
week it's like
their offense is, when I've turned them on, has been outstanding. And then the weeks I don't always see a score, they only scored 7.
It's Jacqueline Hyde.
Yeah.
It's Jacqueline Hyde all over.
and I've heard them switching Hitchcock from a wide receiver
receiver.
to or from a quarterback to a wide receiver. So you never know what you're going to get.
They had 0 completions against South Range when they played them.
Not
0, not one. All
Yeah,
their
you
all
can't
their
enjoy
yards
football
came
games
on the
like
ground.
No, that's hard to do come playoff time.
Yeah.
You
It's
have to be
it's
able to
incredible,
throw it.
and they're spreading people out. So got to be able to complete the football. Last question for you guys: who's the team that you feel for the most this year? And I know we talked about earlier this year about teams like one player away or
That's a good question. I really feel for, a program like Latonia. It's having a pretty tough year, from, not having a good week in week 4 and then deciding maybe, hey, we might close shop here for the year. They've come out and they've continued to play week after week. Of course, it's not going to be the result you want, but to be able to finish that season says a lot about that coaching staff and those guys. And then another one I'll say is East. East kind of gets cheap victory against Mooney for that ineligible player, and they're 8 now or 1-7. But East has guys out there that continue to play hard. They're just freshmen. They got I was telling me they got 8 guys who are playing both sides of the football and that are young. So I feel for East, the program that was so good in 2018, beating Canfield, who was the number 1 seed at the time.
Yep.
Poland that year.
Yep.
They
They
beat
play a
Hubbard.
great schedule. Yeah, their schedules.
And then you lose those kids that go to Cheney after the program opens up, and now you're kind of back to ground zero where you got to restart it from scratch.
Yeah, there's 2 for me when I look at our wall, which I love. Look, Niles, who's a better football team than their record. The running backs, just coming back, but their record is better than they are. Sebring.
Yep. Sean Phillips just said it.
Sebring and Crestview's lost some
That's a great call.
heartbreaking.
Right there. Amos says right here.
Heartbreaking. I've watched them a couple of times, and they're not distanced but far in a lot of games. And Coach Cusick's been there forever, number 1.
Yep.
He puts out good teams, and I'll never forget we did the Power Hour show when they played in the playoffs against South Range. That's a good football program that's not used to the season that they're having. That's why I say that.
And I think there's a little bit, I don't want to say disappointment, but discouragement, and when you're losing those games. I said it yesterday to my wife, and you guys can correct me. This is not a competitive statement. I'd rather lose those blowout games and know I'm losing than lose the heartbreakers.
Because
It just,
you're going home with them.
and more than one, guys. More than one.
And you're going home with them.
That
Yep.
United one was probably the worst of the season.
I think so too. 4
And-
seconds,
yeah.
something like that.
And you go home with them, and your family has to go through them with you. And that's what I talked about when we started the show. Those are when a high school program started. Coach Cusick's one of them. He's not a good coach anymore.
Give me a break.
Yeah, I don't like social media because these guys all have their own kids that go to school and listen to all this stuff all day. Social media,
Got to be
for
careful.
high school athletes, you have to be careful.
Very careful. We're going to close up shop here with the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark? But before we do, want to remind people tonight.
Yeah, I will be over at the Golden Dawn part one.
And then tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow we're going to do the Ursuline Volleyball Senior Cheerleaders, which I'm looking forward to. It's one of the things I'm proud of. We've been able to promote all the sports for the Ursuline fall. We'll be there tomorrow. Obviously, tomorrow, the Irish show, we have a couple of good, Christian Lynch and Tyreek Dunlow will be on, and a pretty good player from Ursuline's past that's on their staff that maybe the best running back Ursuline's ever had, Clinton Lynch. Can't wait to talk to him. And obviously, Coach Reardon gives up his time. And then, I know you go.
Be a legend.
You'll be at Legends. You'll be with Canfield on Wednesday. Thursday, we'll be all over the place at Cheney and Mineral Ridge. And for all those people, we love to do that.
Yep.
If you're a school that wants one of those, help us get set up with the restaurant or a place, and we'd love to come promote your programs.
And don't forget tonight, Fitch and Crestview volleyball game. It will be packed. Brubaker's niece, Kylie Folkwine, plays for Fitch, and of course the homeschool Crestview niece, Abby Boyarko. She's in JV. So many ladies and family, neighbors, and friends. Hope it's a great game, and he makes it on time. We hope you do too. Yeah. And if you're not on time,
watch it on YSN.
Watch it on YSN.
There's one more too while we're into the volleyball. The Hubbard Cardinal Mooney game, obviously with the tragedies of
we'll be there.
Of Miss Marion and Mark Pelini. That's a great. It's going to be a packed house, and we're proud to be there to be a part of that too.
Yeah, we're excited for that. We that's going to be a very special presentation. Obviously, so tune into that. Anthony Hartwig will have that for you. All right, you know what time it is, boys. It's time for the Joe Dickey Electric. What's your spark? Presented by Joe Dickey Electric. Anything commercial, residential, anything electrical, visit them on the web at DickeyElectric.com. All right, Dr. Leslie.
That's on me first. Wow, I have a good spark.
All right.
It's being the GM at YSN. We talk all the time. We talked off air to different generations. We're all in different generations. I love seeing Richie grow with us, Anthony Romo. I continue to be amazed by what they do. That's my spark. I love YSN. I cannot wait to someday retire and do YSN full-time for a living with talks like we have, and the great comments are on.
Hey,
you're going to agree to disagree with what we do,
absolutely.
Power rankings and those things, but that's my main spark is Richie and Anthony Romo. To me, are two rising stars.
Here we go. Ready? Sorry, that was my son.
Love it.
It's a good start. Getting him started with the Power Hour. Steve, we can't wait for that day. In the words of Ice Cube, today was a good day. What do you got, Rich?
It's obviously fun doing a show with three people.
Yeah.
Mondays, we're used to sitting down and just doing a show, us two, and we go back and forth, and people like to criticize us.
Sure.
So it's also nice to have another target on the back, and that was fun. But, just being able to watch a lot of football games on Friday night, having the ability to go on there. We had 4 or 5 games on in our booth
on the way
while we were also calling the game. Like, you just don't have that in high school sports.
Like, what did we listen to? At least
we listened
3 overtimes of Ty's game. I think
the
majority of it on the way
back.
So, just being able to go out Friday night and, have other announcers that you're able to listen to and pick things off of. And, I just enjoy doing it Friday night. I know we had a little bit of a different trip going up to Baldwin Wallace. Yeah. Which is an interesting place.
We thought the coaches were going to come through the ceiling above us. It's a little outdated at Baldwin Wallace from a press box standpoint, but we survived.
But I think my spark would be being able to see different teams throughout the season, right?
Yep.
Being the Canfield guy, and I love supporting the Cardinals and coming back to my alma mater, but being able to go different places when, Canfield's on the road and somebody else picks up the game. I've been able to see, Jackson, Milton, Newton Falls, Ursuline, a bunch.
Sure.
VASJ, who we saw, who's going to be a big team in Division number 3, who's probably going to be able to make a run if they get past that 15 seed. There's a couple of other schools that I've been able to see. Asheville, St. John, Inspire. I just like traveling around and seeing different teams, so I'm able to talk about them on these shows, right? If I'm Canfield and I'm one-dimensional, I can only talk about Canfield for so long. But, being able to see all these different teams in person and then watching the games as well. I think that's my spark. Just, watching the talent evolve around this area, because there is a lot. I think we're spoiled in this area. We got some of the best teams in the region for sure.
I could not agree with you more. My spark is that on Friday, just on Friday, 407.1 thousand people came to our website. We knew that when it got cold, people would come.
Well, yeah. And you just have to say thank you.
Yes.
To sponsors, number one.
Yes. They're
again,
happy as can be.
Some of the new sponsors that we've gotten, cannot thank them enough. And we want more.
Yep.
It's the best way that you could help high school kids or little league. It doesn't matter. We'll promote it for you and come be a part of YSN.
It was incredible, Steve. I just watched. Richie actually texted me and said, "Hey,
So
are
that's
you watching
incredible.
what's going on?"
It's incredible.
I usually look at
because he was telling me about it at the game and he's like, wow. But I'm not surprised by that because it's not for one school. It's not for one sport. We're 12, 15 guys that love to promote all the sports that we have in this area.
Thank you, Gina. We appreciate
thank you for all she does, for sure.
It was just very humbling. You know what I mean? We had 532,000 our first year. That's hits on our website. And then in one night we did almost that same exact, over the weekend we did match that quickly.
Here's humbling when you go to this. I'm fortunate enough to call YSU. I love it and get to travel. That's talked about a lot on Friday night, wherever we're at, and we're all watching on my iPad and watching high school football. That's what YSN means to Youngstown State University and how important when all the doctors that help out at high schools are able to watch their high school team plays, and it's because of us.
Oh, I had a referee come up to me. This was the game. I was on the field before Ursuline and St. V. I went down there, and the referee came up, and I had our logo, and he's like, "You're YSN." He's like, "Thank you for all you guys do."
Sure.
I'm a referee. Sometimes I don't ref, but I'm able to watch when I'm on the road traveling.
That's humbling.
He loved it.
And Doc Duffett, who's been around Canfield Athletics for years,
he
knows about YSN, and Steve, we're watching, and he's in tune to it.
I love it.
That's what makes me love to put the YSN on my chest.
Oh, man. Oh, my heart's warm right now. Guys, thank you very much. Steve, thank you for dropping by today. It was such a pleasure having
Maybe
you.
Mondays we could sneak this in. I'll do a call StreamYard.
All right.
On the last half hour.
We love it. Love it.
Take some bullets off your back.
Yeah, please.
The doctor.
I'm getting killed by my uncle.
You got a couple followers on Facebook. He's got them all, Deej.
I don't even have Facebook.
That's okay. You're better off. Don't have it.
We'll see you tomorrow from 3 to 4 right here on the YSN Power Hour. Peace be with you. YSN thanks you for watching this presentation